We're heading off to Shinjuku to get to a bar. Gonna experience the nightlife of Japan. In yet another part that seems strangely like they're being paid off by the tourism board, but well. It's working, I'll say that.
Yeah, I really do want to go to all these places at some point.
I had somebody even saying on a stream that it's like, yeah, that's one of my life goals, try to hit up each one of these areas. It's like, yeah. Unfortunately, and I'm sure you probably saw this coming when I said, hey, it's the nightlife area. Well, get ready for seedy strip clubs and bars. Oh boy. Like, Persona just cannot.
And depravity.
Yep, just plumbing the depths of depravity of the human condition and all that sort of stuff. It's like even before coming into this episode, I knew that this is what was going to be happening, and then it's just like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I do think that this is like a tourism thing. I just would like the whole thing with what is that place? The neighborhood that was introduced in the Royal.
Okikubo? What was it called? No, that's not right.
No. We can look this up in post.
Yeah, we can look it up in post. Whatever. It's just like, man.
And by post, I mean it's Kichijoji.
It's Kichijoji. Thank you.
Yeah.
What was I? No, that's the place where the ramen was that I was thinking of. Well, anyway, it's like literally you cannot walk down this street without, like I said, getting more examples of the depths of human depravity. Of course, you know, because I live in this world, I'm of course going to ask, tell me more. Ryuji? Like, it was 5 episodes ago that you tried to hire a prostitute. Why are you giving me the... Okay, come on. Now this is just getting ridiculous. Oh, yeah, look, here's the thing. I get it. I get that the entire reason why we keep having scenes like this is because one Persona doesn't know when to stop. Well, the whole repetitive dialogue. But also, it's like it's supposed to be showing just how ridiculously corrupt and terrible the world is and everything like that. How the Phantom Thieves can literally not go more than like 5 seconds without being harassed by police in some way. But it's just like, man, I don't... Like, is this the thing that the Phantom Thieves are supposed to be solving? Because I don't think bringing in a handful, I'm still thinking about 7, like, high-profile criminals is going to change the world to this extent. I mean, look, we got, like, Goro, we got, like, a Najima out there. They've probably definitely brought in far more than 7-ish high-profile criminals. And you know, people are still getting harassed constantly every single place you go to. So they really expect us this to be like, yes, this is going to be the turning point. The Phantom Thieves catching 7 criminals.
So I need to shock. I need to register my shock at what's going on. Not this part. With his fortune teller. I just mean that part with the cop noticing, like, oh yeah, those look like, I'm literally wearing, like, those pants right now. Like, I'm wearing exactly, you can just get them at Walmart, they're like $10.
They are like pajama pants. They do look like pajama pants.
I mean, you can't be like, oh yeah, those pants look like a uniform from a high schooler. And then Ryuji is like the world's worst liar. Like, I don't know how he's this bad at it this long. Like, I'm bad at the videos, so I understand that. Like, I understand not gaining any skills, but you'd think that he would have just been, like, weeded out at this point, just like completely.
Like, I think the real question is, wait, what was that officer going to do?
Yeah.
Is there some sort of like nationwide curfew in Japan where teenagers can't be walking around at night?
Well,
I mean, this is the sort of thing I'm talking about.
This is a really seedy district. I mean, it's clearly like this is not for.
But you can't walk around. Actually, one of the things that you didn't see was that the like tourist description for this area said that, hey, even if you can't drink yet, you can still hang out in the bars. It's like, well, no, I guess you can't. Also, good God, why did Ryuji even come here? Why do we even have Ryuji on this team? Like, he literally did not. He was not invited or any. Well, anyway, all this just kind of. It's like, do we really think that the Phantom Thieves are going to be fixing this sort of thing? And the answer is absolutely yes, because this is a game where things don't logically follow each other, and we're just going to get to the point where it's like the world is suddenly magically better because we brought in 5 high-profile criminals. This is the game that we're playing. It doesn't matter how many other people in the world are trying to fight to make it a better place. It's not until the Phantom Thieves bring in 5 criminals that everything becomes so much better. it's just so much more clear that it's like, especially this scene here, for example. Like, I do want to point out last episode, you remember how it's like the plan we had, to try and meet up with one of the mafia members worked? It just worked perfectly, if I would say so. Nothing, we were able to meet up with a mafia member, like, absolutely no problem at all. And hey, for once, it actually kind of made sense that they just came up to us on the street because we were told that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing. We got no information out of that.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. Like, not even a direction of where to go. Now, you might have said it's like, well, that's because Makoto screwed it up, but even if she wasn't there, what was main character going to do?
I'm surprised all these, like, organized crime and everything, they're just all right with a guy just, like, with a cat in his backpack. Just like, that cat could be bugged.
Nobody can see that cat.
Really?
Remember?
They can't even see the cat. Is that right?
Look. You can see the cat on your side of the screen, but like Ichiko over here cannot.
Wow. Okay, I did not know that. I thought they just couldn't see Morgana's true form.
Well, that's also true too.
Yeah.
But, it's like you might think that it's like, no, it would be very, very obvious that the main character is carrying around a cat, and you would definitely want to ask about that. I mean, Ichiko is drunk right now, but even you can't be that drunk. Or maybe, or if she is, she's certainly very, very coherent for being at that level.
Also, I just want to point out that even though he's not wearing the school uniform, he's actually recognized for somebody who might wear that school uniform sometime at a different time. So he's automatically suspect.
Now, you would think that it's like, okay, might not be able to see the cat, but certainly she can hear the cat meowing loudly at the main character. Nope, not at all.
Okay, yeah.
I would actually be kind of funny if instead of maybe instead of being like, hey, I just randomly stopping teenagers, that police officer stopped the main character because it's like, hey, you're that transfer student. In fact, that would have also been pretty great in the last episode if the reason that the mafia came up to the main character in the first place was just like, hey, it's that transfer student. If we can blackmail him, we'll get access to all of his myriad criminal connections.
Mm-hmm.
We're already doing, like, gag-based storytelling. Why not just go full on with it?
Yeah.
Also, hey, see, like I said, this Persona just said, hey, this is the time where we find out. There it is. Yeah. Everything we did in the last episode, forget about it. It's all useless. Even though the plan we had went off absolutely perfectly. We got nothing. But now it's time.
I'm starting to think you have some problems with the plotting in this game.
With the plotting in this game. By the way, I do want to ask right now. So we are going to actually see the palace in this episode of Junya Kaneshiro.
Uh-huh.
What do you think that's going to look like? Just curious.
He's a mobster?
He is head of a mafia. He is a fat guy, I guess.
It's
with slick back hair.
Yeah,
he is I don't know, untouchable by the normal public for reasons.
So
but and he loves extorting people for money.
There's about two different main directions that this could go. So first of all, they could go completely ridiculous with the Scarface thing, where it's like
that would be great.
Yeah, like a big kind of palatial kind of like manor, almost like an old style southern mansion, but like in kind of like a Cuban style, like just like
we're talking Scarface, and I think that would be appropriate considering that he does call his organization the Mafia.
Yeah, and just like literally have that thing that he says the world is yours or whatever. Just have like go all out with that kind of just a ridiculous aesthetic. Or they could go all in with the gluttony thing and just have it be like shaped like a steak or something, or a giant fish or something.
That would also be if it was like a giant restaurant. I think that would work. I mean, it's just one of the things that oh boy, one of the writers saw the birdcage. It's like I was just thinking about that as I was doing this episode, where it's just like these the palaces are supposed to be entirely based around like what a single person's cognition, you know, like how they see the world and everything like that, and even like to smaller details, like having Anne be the right-hand man for Kamoshida, for example. It's so weird that they give the actual villains so few characteristics. I mean, I don't really want to knock the palaces too much because I do really like a lot of their designs, including the one that's going to be coming up here. But it's also like, man, you would think that you would want to really hammer home a lot of very specific characteristics of each one of these villains, you know, flesh them out to a huge degree. But they don't. They give them like 2 characteristics. For example, like Madarame was artist and forger.
Well, one thing you could do is, I think in Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho do a great job with this. It's made by the same artist. One thing they do is they get these pretty superficial characteristics, like one good character trait and one bad character trait, and then they kind of build the character around that. And he does this over and over again in Hunter x Hunter. You could just go buy
but the thing is, it's like,
it's a great way to introduce a lot of characters and have them all instantly be relatable.
And I mean, I think that they started with that here, where they have like one big like characteristic, but then it's like they don't really flesh it out, and it's just like, well, Madarame is the art guy, so it's a museum. It's like you would think that they would give him, I don't know, like a dog, and like, hey, this is his favorite Shiba Inu, and it becomes a mini boss in the palace, kind of like how they did with Anne, but they didn't. It's just he's greedy, he's museum, well, he's artist, and he's forger. It's like,
I mean, that's
it's supposed to be an area entirely based around a single character. I can't believe that they give them so few characteristics.
Even in the fucking Iliad, the kings had dogs. Like, I mean, storytelling has not apparently advanced in the last 3,000 years.
Well, at least in this case. Oh, by the way, that entire scene with Angela and Julia, it's like, that's a surprising departure between the Japanese and English version. It actually reminded me a lot of when we were first talking to when Kamoshida was first talking to Anne. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. Where it's like the English version was much more explicit that Kamoshida was preying on Anne, whereas he just like came off as friendly but pretty creepy in the Japanese version. That scene in Japanese similarly was a lot more vague, where it's like they tried to kind of soften what was going on there in the English version, but in the Japanese version it's just like Angela was really interested in this a big catch that Ryuji had and just wanted to hear the details on that. Wink, wink. So yeah, it's not just Anne that gets sexually harassed around here. Great, cool and great and good.
Well, I mean, if Ryuji's going to start wearing yellow, then I mean, we're just going to see a lot more of that harassment. That's a really good look.
Why?
Because it's a good look for all of them. They're all looking really good right now, except for Joker, again, who has no character. No personality.
Yeah, he just looks like nothing.
He looks like so dumpy. Just like, oh, I guess I'll get some faded jeans, I guess, and I guess
tucked in shirt. He's a teenager that's tucking in his shirt.
A brown belt and I don't know, just kind of a nondescript,
white coat,
dress shirt. Yeah, kind of. And then just, I guess, put his hand in his pocket. He doesn't even look fashionable. He just really looks like completely nondescript. He's basically indistinguishable from the extras, except that he has a little bit more polygons and he has some glasses.
Yep, well, he definitely has a significant amount more polygons. By the way, we are going to a bank, so yeah, all right, he's greedy. Now, wasn't Madarame the greedy one? Yes, but he was also like it's supposed to be the Museum of Vanity, but it was like all gold and stuff. And he did talk about making no. This guy's the greedy one.
Oh wait, really?
Whatever, man. Just let it go.
So maybe Madarame's was like vanity. This is more like greed.
I guess he was. Like, I suppose he was prideful. I mean, you remember like the Mario 64 paintings room, where he was talking about how everybody should be bowing down to him and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't buy it. I'll say that, though. I can see sort of where they were going, but there was the entire wacky golden room with the teleporter maze. Like, come on.
Also, why would they have like him be just like, you know, what? Well, they just mix too many things. They just try to throw too many things at all the characters.
But the thing is, it's also like Madarame only had like 3 characteristics.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have enough of a personality, but they try to like compensate for his lack of character by giving him this palace, which could mean like 4 different things.
And I do really like how the palaces look and everying. It just feels like
they just need to have good characters to go with it. They just need good writing, and they'd be really golden.
Like Madarame in passing said that he had a mistress and everything. It's like, why didn't she appear in the palace?
Yeah.
Come on, give me some. I mean, yes, it would have just been Anne, Shadow Anne again, but still, at least we would have gotten something. I don't know. It's like there's so. I mean, it's the whole thing where it's like every single time. For example, who are we even doing this for right now? It's like we're doing it for Makoto. We're doing it for Ida, that one guy who was surly every single time we talked to him and then insulted everybody who tried to help him. And a bunch of other nameless extras. And it's like similarly with Madarame, we're doing it for Nakanohara, which who cares? We didn't even try to contact him. Yusuke, of course. And a bunch of other nameless pupils.
Well, the thing is, okay, so the Reductio...
Actually, I do like this.
Oh, yeah, this is cool as hell.
And all the stuff floating around in the background is dollar bills.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's like, it's cheesy, and I mean, again, it's like, I would like to see, like, some more specific characters be brought out here so that they could be included in the palace. Like, even it took until the royal for them to add Mishima into Kamoshida's palace, for example. That's just...
This is weird. This like, I just watched They Live a few weeks ago, and this kind of reminds me of that. I like this just like weird aesthetic. Just like, oh yeah, actually everyone around you is just a walking ATM.
Walking... It is pretty good. Still, though, it highlights just how absolutely anonymous everybody who is supposedly being affected by Junya's reign of terror. By the way, if you think about it, it's like, you know, Kamoshida, he's the king of the castle in terms of school, as well as Madarame, who's the king of the castle in terms of the art world, and now Junya, who's the king of the castle in terms of I guess this small area. It's like these sort of justifications that they have for like having the first thing be a palace, like a literal palace. It just seems more and more ridiculous over time.
Well, you know, here's the thing. I think a lot of our criticisms are valid, but I think one of the things, just a basic thing that it is kind of a reductio when you have like, okay.
Do you think he's a victim? Like you
like,
are stupid.
No, I mean, with this, like, Madarame, okay, so the problem with this whole thing is, like, okay, if you don't give your villains any good characteristics, you run into this problem where, okay, this is this vile criminal, but he's not even that good at crime, because if we make him good at crime, then he's smart, which is a virtue, you know? And it's like, we can't have him, he just has to be so venal and just a liquid ball of evil. And evil on top of evil on top of evil, instead of just making him like the Joker and just saying, well, he's got a good sense of humor, you know?
How would it be? At least it's like then you would have a little bit more stuff to hang your hat on when it comes to palaces.
Yeah, it would make it a lot easier.
It would make like storytelling sense.
The Joker, not this Joker, this motherfucker would be
this is surprisingly not funny at all. It's weird. Well, I mean, he's supposed to be like the Joker, like the card suit.
Yeah, I know, but
that is explicitly based on.
So is the Joker, though.
Yes, and it's like, how? No, I can't get into repetitive dialogue.
I like that.
Gonna be here all day.
Humor is subjective, to quote the Todd Phillips movie, but also Joker is actually not funny at all.
He's one of those anti-humor guys.
Yeah. Boy. Like anti-Kaufman.
Old Auntie Kaufman. Hey, well, at least we got some sort of idea. I mean, prior to this, it's like it was pretty obvious where all the palaces were. But here, it's... I mean, you wouldn't really think that this criminal mastermind would be able to cover an entire area as, like, his domain this easily, but... I mean, you said it's like if he's really good at crime, but it's like he is good at crime? Like, he has taken over the entirety of Shibuya as far as his domain goes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So, he's clearly good at crime, but also, like, his minions just approach people in the street. Which, by the way, why don't we just go do that again? Whatever. The game decided that it's fine. We'll just go get a different character to tell you what to do.
The broken ATMs, are those actually people dying from gunshot wounds?
In Japan? Absolutely not.
I mean, oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Again, I do really like a lot of these palace designs.
These are really cool, yeah.
And as you can see, it's like a giant Roomba that's sucking up money from the streets. Like, come on, that's some fantastic stuff.
Yeah, that is awesome. And then I love that there are like trees there just to like emphasize.
Oh, we'll get a closer look at those actually, probably at the end of the episode, but definitely in the start of the next one.
Yeah, I love that, like, just that it emphasizes that it's not only this absurd like abomination that's above the city, but it's also like this organic thing. It's so hardcore that this is like a system unto itself. It's like,
let's say that they're a little bit more Kendrick Lamar than your regular trees. Yeah, you understand that reference, right? Nah, whatever. Look, if you don't, go look it up. But anyway, yeah, remember how we got a zip line at the start of the Royal? Well, it doesn't apply here. Forget about it.
Okay, well...
Now, I know it is pretty far away, but, like, come on.
I love the flow here where it's just like you see this, and then just as you're intrigued by it, it's like you just go home and whatever. Like, time to go.
Yep. Well, that's Persona. Look, I don't actually fault them for that, comparatively. This is a game that is supposed to be taking place over a long time, so it's like, hey, we got a natural break in the scene. Let's go call it a day, and etc. And fine, whatever.
Well, to be fair, they choose how that flow goes. I mean, I've been playing Ace Attorney actually for the first time, and that it obviously makes no like sense in terms of like the timeline is ridiculously condensed, but it really works to the advantage because it's like, okay, every day I've gotten really far in this case, and after 3 or 4 days, the case is done.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we are talking about Persona. It's like, at least something happened there. That's more than what happened in the last episode, where, like I said, despite the fact the plan worked, it didn't.
But I feel like, in a weird way, that's almost like, that's a really damning thing. It's like, well, you can't expect it to be good. You can't expect it to be good because it's, it's Persona. What are you going to do?
That is true. It's like, we shouldn't just accept things. Well, actually, it's like, what are we going to do about that? This is episode 46 right now of, like, 300.
We're in this, yeah.
Yeah. It's the sort of thing, like, we can be critical of that, but... how critical can we truly be? Oh, this is a fun scene.
We're still participating into this system.
Yep, it's true. We're both perpetuating this evil that Persona 5 is doing. We're going to have to go steal Persona 5's heart. Makoto's storyline seemed to be that she was, by her sister mother, being pushed into trying to perform super well in all aspects of her life, putting a lot of pressure on her and everything. And then additionally, she also had the principal who was very unscrupulous, going beyond his boundaries, like trying to coax Makoto into working on this case faster and faster. You'd think that like the natural conclusion for the storyline would have been that the principal would have reached out to Makoto's sister mother, and then like she would be very worried about that, and that would stress out Makoto more, and cause the events that are about to be unfolding here. Instead, they just decided, apropos of nothing, her sister mother is going to be like, I fucking hate you, Makoto.
Yeah, that was...
you suck.
That was
and it's like, wait, what? We had a... No? Okay, this is Persona 5. Things just happen when they happen. Gotcha. Like, you had a storyline. What happened to that?
Also, that was like really uncomfortable. I mean, I think it's an interesting development in the character, but it's like, oh wow, that was uncomfortable. That was like,
Sai has been stern.
Give me an answer.
She's been terse. I don't think she's been emotionally abusive as of just yet. So that's a weird scene. It really just kind of feels like the whole Persona 5 things. Look, we need Makoto to be extra stressed out and to do things in the story here. So
yeah, it's melodrama. It's like it's like
Yes.
a soap opera, almost exactly. Like it's just one of those things where it's like, oh yeah.
actually, speaking of that, and you were talking last time about like checkboxes and everything. I actually do have, as of right now, as I was doing this episode, a list of predictions for the next palace.
Ooh.
That's right. I just noticed that there have been so many connections to be made, and there's always these like specific scenes that seem to happen in one way or another. That it's like I'm just gonna write down. I don't know if this is gonna be 100% accurate, but I just thought I want to see, starting with the fourth palace, because the third one we're kind of pretty well into it, right? I want to see how many of these things I got right.
So you're turning Persona 5 into a drinking game, which I can accept.
We're now doing a new segment. It's Persona Addictions, because I'm addicted to Persona. No, it's Persona Predictions.
Oh, or it's Persona Bingo. Like how are you structuring?
Okay, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So, let me start out here. This first one is the free space, I suppose, if we're going to be going with Bingo. Najima just straight out tells you what's going to happen and to whom. Like, yeah. I think you can agree. By the way, meeting with Kaneshiro is not going to help this at all. We just need like a big ladder or something. Or a zip line, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, Najima just straight out tells you what's going to happen and to whom. Free space, because that is absolutely going to happen. We need to find the next big target, which is what the main characters are saying, followed by doing absolutely nothing except for saying variations of that over and over.
And we get the Dragon Ball Z flashback to 10 minutes ago.
Yep. Yeah, we do.
Not
Also,
even
it
10
happens
minutes
again,
ago.
by the way.
Literally, it was like 2 minutes ago. It was...
Number 3, 100% true rumors online or at school. Group does some sort of preliminary investigation that gives a vague idea of what's happening, but nothing concrete. That was like the Ida scene that we did in this arc, or the Nakanohara scene that we did in Mementos in the previous arc. Only 1 or 2 victims are given a name / discernible traits, despite being a huge widespread issue. I already kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. Despite having a plan that works, it goes absolutely nowhere due to their own incompetence and or lack of follow-through. Even more flashbacks of things that just happened. Some sort of scene where we should just give up.
Flashback.
We had that happen in the karaoke bar. We had that happen in after going to the palace for the first time for Madarame. We had that happen after going into the palace for the second time for Kamoshida. Okay, game decides that this is when stuff is going to happen and just points the characters towards the dungeon. I shouldn't even need to say all the examples of that, including in this very episode. An evil car? Like, this is not even so much like a disparaging remark against the game. It just seems to be that whenever we have like the villains appearing or like some sort of big event is going to be happening, the villains have a car. I don't know. Just look for that.
Also, I just want to point out they did the useless flashback again, like in the moment, like so.
I told you it was going to happen a second time. By the way, hey, here, Makoto does actually think about using a wire, but kind of. I don't know how do you record a call on a cell phone? I don't actually know this.
By the way, I don't know if this is in Japanese, but hey, it's me, Makoto Najima. Is that what her nameplate says too? Like, just so it's clear, you're getting a call from Makoto Najima. Remember her? Remember her from the last scene and several scenes.
I also forgot how palaces work. Please explain that to me again. By the way, yeah, you remember how I said earlier? It's just like, why don't they just go try to find the mafia members again? Apparently, it's super easy.
Yeah, she just
Like,
goes
it's in the same
around
spot
corner.
too.
Like, she goes around the corner from that courtyard where she caught them talking, and she just goes around, and here's where you get the mafia member. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, I get it. By the way, evil car. Told you. Anyway, this is, look, I get it. Makoto's like very stressed out. She's not thinking right. Why are the mafia members going along with this though?
Well, it's
Like,
pretty simple.
look, if you go walk
she's
up.
stressed out because so they basically just established this scene like 5 minutes ago by having her sister say that abusive shit to her, and like now she's irrational.
Her sister mother.
Yeah, exactly.
At what point in time do you think they decide to make her her sister instead of her mother? Because it's pretty clear at this point in time. Like, it's like, okay. I get Makoto's opposition, but it's just like, why are the mafia members doing this? Why are the mafia members actually bringing her? Like, okay, so first off, the realistic thing would be just, hey, bring me to Junya Kaneshiro, and they'd be like, never heard of him, and keep walking.
Okay, we got their license plate.
And then it's like, second, they would shoot her. Shoot her with the mafia guns they have. But, like, no, they're... Nah, thank you, Ryuji. I knew we had you on this team for a reason. Even though, good God.
You fucking dumbass.
Well, that's Ryuji for you. I mean, that's his strength and his weakness. Actual picture of Dr. Inferno Firebird.
They should have a mini game where you have to like play as Ryuji and you have to dodge the car. You have to, get as close as possible as you can. And if you don't,
why do we have to bring Makoto to Kaneshiro? Why did they let this happen in the first place? Why did these guys follow her? They should have just been like, oh no, she's fucking dead, dude.
Also,
like,
this is the first courageous
act.
This
is
they've
so
actually
contrived.
done. I gotta say, this is one of the first things where they've actually done something courageous without their personas. So this is, I guess, interesting in terms of characters.
I mean, but it's also so stupid.
So they just happen to be in the middle of.
Look,
like,
they're not the ones that are stressed out and not in the right state of mind. But also, why did the mafia members just bring them? This also, speaking of another Kamoshida scene, reminds me a lot of when we saw Anne get captured, and they broke into Kamoshida's room and stood in front of him and started yelling at him until Anne eventually awoke in a persona. It's like, I get that they can't really do anything here, but it's just, why did they bring her to Kaneshiro? They could easily do this without bringing her to Kaneshiro.
Also, just I just love that he just got like $3 million, just like, or $3 million.
300, yeah, okay.
$3 million yen in a briefcase, just like, oh, I love my money. Oh,
I wonder what the treasure is going to be this time.
I'm such
anyway.
a scumbag. I'm just, I love money so much. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's his whole shtick.
Only thing I love more than money is women and booze and drugs. And did I mention women, booze, and drugs, and also money? It says, I think I'll call it debauchery of minors at a club. So can I send this to y'all? Oh damn, I got booze and cigs in this shop. Maybe some drugs too. See, I'm calling this. I'm doing a persona prediction on the spot here. He's like, oh yeah, I love drugs and booze and women. I said that before I read this script. I want to be clear on that.
So, here's actually my next prediction here after Evil Car. Group is once again incompetent in a baffling way. That means they have to target the person to save themselves, which potentially happens before this point that I was saying, but it actually happened twice in this storyline. So yeah, we already had a time limit and everything established here, but just to make absolutely sure that we were able to have a face-to-face with Junya Kaneshiro, the game's universe curved itself inward to make this happen.
It didn't even make it more urgent because they already had 2 weeks, right? This is actually an extension.
Yeah. Yeah, but now it's an extension from Mobman himself. And you might say it's just like, hey, doesn't like a mafia member turning in evidence to the police like make that seem very suspect in the first place, and also the way that they were clearly very angry looking and as if they had just been running into the building? Yeah, well, think about what the position that main character is in.
Yes, you did. You literally dragged us into this. Yeah, okay, fair enough. They're calling.
Oh yeah, that is. Yeah, but now is the time when Persona decides that Makoto is going to be sympathetic. Because apparently the main character saw that last
Well,
scene
yeah, that
with her
makes
sister
sense.
mother.
You know, useless, useless, useless.
And now we forgive her, despite the fact that she put us in this position in the first place. Like,
Well, I mean, you know, we
misunderstanding
didn't
happen.
change her heart.
so anyway, blowing through the remaining predictions that I got. Villain has about 2 major traits, e.g. extremely prideful, eats a lot of food that informs the entirety of their palace and its inhabitants. Villain gets no additional depth over the course of the story arc. Some mid-dungeon crisis that results in a new party member. Again, not really a disparaging thing, but just something that I'm predicting is going to happen. And we're going to get, like, kicked out immediately after that happens. And then, of course, a big apology scene. And nothing else. And then at some time during the story arc, the group and or individual members are harassed for no reason at minimum 3 times.
In this episode.
At minimum 3 times. Like, really, conservatively, it should be, like, 5 or so. Anne is sexually harassed at least once. And again, probably should
Also,
be even
speaking
higher.
of which, sorry, like, why aren't they wearing their cool clothes from like a few scenes ago? Is it a different day? So were those just for the one
yes.
scene? Like they have
Yes,
these, like,
the last time was Sunday.
amazing wardrobes for all the characters who aren't Joker.
Yeah, they got
Okay, fair
these
enough.
are their school clothes. Because it's Monday, and last time it was Sunday, so they weren't actually in school.
Okay,
that
that makes sense. And
was more
Ryuji wears
casual
his
fare.
No More Rules shirt, which is actually official. That's officially
That's
required.
his school clothes.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
he just
yeah.
wears a t-shirt over his normal clothes, and then basically if any teacher
That's
yells at
actually
him, he takes it.
realistic. Yeah.
Kawakami. I mean, that was his justification in the last episode for why he wouldn't be recognized in Shinjuku as a student. Not
Yeah,
that
like,
that should
That
matter.
looks like the pants of a high
But it
school
does.
uniform. I know all the high school uniforms by heart. We have a
Well, everybody, they had plenty of people giving in. Speaking of which, why was it important for Ichiko to talk to Mishima? A lot of students gave interviews after that. We saw that when we were working in Sakura's like dishwashing area, whatever you call that.
yeah.
TV right there. Yeah, we already got Ryuji. We can't have you doing the same thing as well. It's just like why do we need a second Ryuji? We don't.
So, have you gone through all your Persona?
Yeah, don't worry
predictions?
about it.
Or Persona?
Also remember, nobody can see that cat.
Okay.
Oh, that's it for Persona addictions. The last one was that Anne is going to be sexually harassed at least once, which has happened in every single arc at this point. In the first arc, obviously that made a lot of sense. In the second arc, well, we currently have them as a party member. And in the third arc, we had that one guy in the television studio who just kind of came up for no reason. Oh, and also kind of partially the party members
I
again.
like that we have to go after Kaneshiro now, and she doesn't even want to, even though she's the one who dragged us in. That is funny.
Well, it's that arbitrary sort of we should give up sort of thing. But I mean, not in the same way as it was like back in the karaoke bar. Really, Ryuji? Put it up on the board. Put it up. No, she doesn't.
I feel like that's a bad policy for life in general. Like, if Ryuji jumps in front of a cab, like, he doesn't get to know. That doesn't mean.
Yeah, that means that Makoto gets to know.
I guess she's just a party member now.
Yes, she is, basically. By the way, I almost want to go backwards just to show you what Makoto looked like when the screen was getting distorted again. It was pretty good. No, they won't. We were just here yesterday, and there were no shadows around. They're obviously all in the bank itself. She doesn't know about that cat being in the bag. Well, now that cat's out of the bag, so I suppose it doesn't really... Makoto, please. This is... like, do you not have object permanence yet? Oh, boy. I tell ya, it's like they keep trying to pretend like they are going to skip past all of like the basic explanation for what a palace is and how it works.
Like they can't
never
just do
do.
this off screen. They can't be like.
And they're going and just watch. They're going to pretend like they're going to, and then they won't. And then they're just going to explain it anyway. They're just teasing you with the idea that it's like Makoto is going to understand this, but you sure as shit she is not. No, it is analytical psychology. It's explicitly the collective unconsciousness of mankind as outlined by Carl Jung. And yeah, no, these guys are idiots and they don't know anything about anything. See? So it seems like they explained everything to her there, right? It seemed like that. Like there was even a cut. Like you would assume that sort of montage would have just happened off. Nope. Nope, definitely not. Next episode, they are going to explain every individual part of having a palace. I just I don't look. It happens so often in this game, all the time, that it's like, I mean, even that whole thing earlier where we were trying to figure out what Kaneshiro's palace is going to be and everything like that. It's like they did do an entire explanation of what a palace was again. Now they're gonna do it again. It's like, hey, an excuse to reuse dialogue.
I
just restate like the same things over and over.
Making you shout like, "Here's the doctrines of Carl Jung" at the screen, just like, "No, you fucks! It's analytical psychology as expressed in the words of Carl Jung. It's the collective unconscious." They tried to make Makoto be all like, "Oh, look, she's the smart one," and it's like, you got it all wrong, fucko. It's archetypes.
It's just, we call them shadows and personas, you
what
dumbass.
Do you think this is? You think this is Freud? You think this is Freud? You think this is William James? You think this is behaviorism? You think this is social?
You think this is some sort of modern psychology?
No. Get the fuck out!
Fuck off!
Did you even read your goddamn psychology textbooks? Okay.
It looks exactly what his cognition is. What the fuck do you think it is? You fat fucks. Well, anyway, we're up to the palace now. Yeah. Yeah, whatever. You're part of his customers or whatever. We could have easily just done that if main character, I don't know, I assume just went along with one of the Mafia members' schemes. Then it's like he would be part of their whole outfit. What? Whatever. Persona 5 does what Persona 5 does. Ryuichi's scared of banks. Which is, sure, why not?
They do a good job with minor characters. Just like, okay, I guess he's just scared of banks. That's funny.
Well, yeah. Minor characteristics of major characters. Minor characters get nothing. And that includes, like, seemingly major characters like Kaneshiro.
Of major characters, and then, actually, they don't have any major characteristics of, like, minor characters.
They have extremely broad characteristics of people, and that's about it. Not at all. Well, anyway, next time we're actually gonna get into the bank. So yeah, hey, we're making it. We're in the third dungeon now of like 7. I don't know. Whatever,
bank, as they say.